Hi, welcome to this week's Old Soul Living. Today we're at the fly tyers bench. We are tying one of my favorite flies. It's one of my favorites for a couple of reasons. Number one, it is super effective and it catches more fish than any other fly in my fly box. The other reason why it's one of my favorites is it's super simple. You can tie a lot of them very quickly. They last a long time and they're super cheap to make. This is one of my favorite flies just for searching patterns, for picky fish, for unique situations where they just don't want to grab anything else. This seems to be a great pattern. There's just something about this bright orange that they absolutely love. They go nuts for it. Anyways, it's super simple. It's so simple that I was almost not even going to make a video of it, but it's my favorite fly, so why not? It's literally only a couple of materials. We're just dealing with bright orange bucktail, streamer hooks. In this case, it's a number 2 mustad streamer hook, and black thread. The other thing you're going to want though is some sort of head cement. I really don't like using the head cement from the fly shops. I find it does not hold up to pike and walleye and anything with big teeth. I think super glues like Gorilla brand glue or any of the super glues out there are going to be way better. Not only do they actually soak into the thread fibers and hold the head together in your knot, it also holds your deer hair together and it just makes it last way longer. I find if I use super glue on the head, I'll get easily 10 or 12 fish per fly versus not, where you might catch 2 pike and your fly is basically trash after that. But let's get into it. Alright, so let's start by getting your hook good and solid in your vise. Let's see here. Alright, now we're just going to start like you would any other fly. Just start wrapping. You want to get a good thread lock. So what you're going to do is about 4 or 5 turns forwards, and then you're going to do a couple behind that knot, and it pinches your thread so that it doesn't go anywhere. Now I like to have a good bite for my bucktail, so I'll wrap about 1/4 inch in thread back and forth. Now I find to grab the bucktail the best, especially when you're dealing with very aggressive fish like pike. You're not going to want to tie your bucktail all in one bunch. So I like to do 2 or 3 bunches depending on the size of fly and how much hair I am putting in there. Now I've tied a few different versions of this. You can add weighted eyes. If you're fishing deeper water, absolutely do that. You will not get this to sink deep enough otherwise, unless you're using like a sink tip or a full sinking line. Most of the time I get away with just floating line, and it will take me about, I let it sink about 8 Mississippi and then start retrieving in a nice jerking pattern, and that seems to do the trick pretty much every time. So you see how I really cinched this down, this first bit. Now we're going to add a little bit more just to bulk up the body. Now one thing to remember is the more deer hair you put on here to make a bigger body, it is going to want to float more because the deer hair is quite buoyant. So you might have to wrap a lead-free solder around the hook or put the dumbbell eyes. You're going to get different retrieving swimming patterns depending on if you do a nice even weight with wrapping solder around it, or if you do dumbbell eyes. If you do dumbbell eyes, it's going to have a lot more of a porpoising kind of action. Okay, so here we're going to do our second layer of bucktail. Like I was saying, I like to do it in multiple bundles, and we're putting nice even pressure here. You don't want to go too tight, you will break your thread. Also, you want it to pull it nice and tight. And I find if you do like 2 turns and then pull it really tight, you're going to you're gonna flare out the deer hair ends, and it's gonna be hard to cinch it down. So get a couple good wraps on there first, then start putting some tension. It's gonna work way better for you. And then at this point, I'm basically just making a nice black head on it and holding everything down. And I'm putting a nice even pressure. It's pulling it tighter and tighter and tighter as we go. So now we're just going to do a whip finish. You can use a whip finish tool. I have had better luck with my fingers pretty much since I started tying flies, so I don't even bother. I actually don't even own one. This works just as good, if not better. I'm going to trim this nice and tight. So as you saw, I did 2 whip finishes. Do 2 or 3 for sure. You don't want this coming undone. Now to finish off this fly, you're going to want to put a cement over top of the head. You can use the commercial head cement from your fishing supply place. I don't recommend that for pike and walleye flies. I find it's not strong enough. It's good to sell to fishermen. I don't feel that it holds up. The best is using super glue actually. Gorilla Glue brand works great. There's a few other brands. Make sure you're using super glue. It's a nice thin cement. It goes into the thread fibers and it makes a nice head on there, and you'll find your flies will last way longer. So in total, this fly probably costed us about 35 cents to make, and you'll probably get 10 or 12 pike off of it, and walleye and other species you'll get more than that. This will hold up for quite a while, and it's definitely my best producing fly. And that's it. Just a nice orange bucktail streamer with a black head. That's all you need. Alright, and that's all there is to it. That's how you tie the poor man's Clouser minnow. Like I said earlier, it's probably my favorite fly for Alberta. Super useful, super inexpensive, really simple. I like it because I can tie a lot of them in a hurry and they just work. And you know what? If a simple pattern with one material catches fish, then why would you tie a more intricate pattern that uses, 10 or 15 expensive materials? Like the old timers, we just make it work. We get by with what we got. It might not be fancy, but we're gonna use what works, and we're gonna get out there and have some fun. And it is a super effective fly. And you know what? For as ugly as this fly may be, I have outfished every other lure in my tackle box, including rapalas, bait, spoons, doesn't matter. This fly, bar none, outfishes them all, even in murky water. So I hope you give this fly a try. I think you're really going to be impressed with it, and hopefully you learned something from this video. And if you have any ideas for further patterns or any other ideas that you want to see us do here on Old Soul Living, go ahead and drop us a comment, and we'll definitely give it a try if we can. We're always up for anything. The big thing here on Old Soul Living is doing as much ourselves as we can, and that includes everything from art stuff, hunting, fishing, woodworking, homesteading. If you got an idea, send it my way. I'll give it a try. But definitely give this fly a try, and we'll see you here next time on Old Soul Living.